Right now, our worst result is Portland, and our best result is Golden State. So we're good in Toronto, too, and we have some liability on Milwaukee. But Portland, they were such long odds all year, even when they were up in the top 4 of the teams in the Western Conference. They still had long odds, so they got well supported throughout the season.
So let's talk about the series itself. What does Portland have to do to make this interesting, to put some fear into Golden State?
Well, they can't afford to have Lillard and or McCollum have off nights. They're going to need productive nights in every game from both of those individuals. They just don't have enough firepower to keep up with the Warriors. I mean, the one thing about Golden State is this team played together before Durant ever arrived. So they have the familiarity, the ball sharing, and they've won titles before without Durant. So they'll be able to pick up just like they did against Houston in Game 6. It's up to Portland's main 2 guys to be able to counteract that with their scoring punch.
Jeff, I know it's the Western Conference Finals, but do you worry from Golden State, which we've seen all year? They've been up and down. It seems like they play when they want to show up, and at times it looks like they're taking the night off. Do you see a letdown after such of a hype of that Houston series, and especially winning Game 6 without Durant?
Well, it's tough in this spot because Portland just finished up a Game 7 2 days ago in Denver with the altitude. So there's not much turnaround for Portland, so it's a little bit tough in this spot. I actually think Toronto is in a more favorable position. Their Game 7 on Sunday, they had a couple days off in between against Milwaukee, so I could see taking the Toronto side plus the points in that one. I think this is just a worse spot for Portland to be in Game 1.
So let's talk about Toronto and Milwaukee because this is the compelling individual matchup of the playoffs with Kawhi versus Giannis. I mean, it really doesn't get much better than this. And Leonard's coming off just this incredible series against the 76ers, so he's on fire. It looks like he's really healthy. Giannis, you can argue, is the best player in the league individually. This should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and we got multiple props for each game. We already have the ones up for tonight and tomorrow. I was just making my numbers on Antetokounmpo and Leonard. I'm looking at like 28.5 on Antetokounmpo and 32.5, 33.5 on Leonard. So it's going to be fun to watch those guys through the series and how they make adjustments. Does
this feel like it might be a real long series? I mean, the NBA is absolutely not my specialty, but I just look at this and say, boy, this has got 7 written all over it.
Yeah, I think the Toronto-Milwaukee one's going to go 7. I could see the Portland-Golden State going 6. I wouldn't fully discount Portland, though. It just depends. You know, I didn't like what I saw in the first round with the Clippers beating the Warriors a couple times. So there is some vulnerability there on the Golden State side. I still expect them to get out of this round, and we've been seeing betting support on the series price of the Warriors. We're up in -$5. We're up to -$6.
Wow.
But I think that Portland could come away with covering the spreads more often than not than Golden State in that series.
Let's talk Las Vegas Aces for a moment. We normally don't do this, but the WNBA team, I can't tell whether this trade's been finalized or is close to being finalized or isn't going to happen, but apparently the Aces are in talks to get a really good player, and they're already the future book favorite at the Superbook. How much of that is locally influenced or not at all?
Well, there wasn't too much local influence when we first put these up, and going into yesterday, we had the Aces at 5-1. They were, one of the top 5-6 teams in the odds board. But with the potential to get Liz Cambridge from Dallas, she's the best center in the league, was a runner-up for MVP last year, and the potential rumor out there for the trade, they wouldn't have to give up too much. So to add her to this team, that would thrust them into the favorite role. So we currently adjusted the Aces to 11-4 ahead of Washington and LA at 3-1. And we had to take down the season win that we had at 20.5 because this really would affect it a lot. So it sounds like the trade right now is about 50-50. The Aces and the Wings are still in talks right now. It hasn't been finalized yet. But, Liz Cambridge is ready to sit out the season if she's not playing at a place that she wants to play in. She preferred to go to L.A. She also said that she would accept a trade to Vegas. So, there's a lot of things working here against Dallas for the trade options.
Switching over to hockey, we got a big one tonight. The season's on the line for Carolina. You've got Boston, Carolina. Dave teased in the earlier segment, pros versus Joes. Is that what we're seeing in this one?
Yeah, pretty much so. I mean, we got right now the money it's 53% tickets on Carolina, 58% money on Boston. But the line has drifted up. We did open $1.15 on Carolina got as low as minus 110. But we're getting some sharp play on Carolina here. It's just a spot with the down 0-2 at home, and it's people really go to the well with this situation here, especially the first period. It works just like the NBA, where you get the excellent effort out of the team, and Boston can play a little bit more relaxed since they have the 2-0 lead. So the first period looks to be something where you might want to target more so than the game itself.
Bethpage Black is the site this weekend. We've had majors there before. The crowds are going to be huge. They'll probably be more boisterous than you usually find at most PGA events. And Tiger Woods, he's back in the hunt. And I understand you guys took your biggest bet so far in the PGA Championship on Tiger.
Yeah, our largest wager we had previously taken was $3,000 on Ricky Fowler at 18-1, but we took $10,000 today on Tiger at 10-1. So I had to adjust that down. Now he's back, the only one in single digits at 8-1. Everyone else 10-1 or higher. So the handle's really picking up right now, and with the different placement in the calendar versus the August, now that it's in May, we're going to surpass what we've done on previous PGA Championships.
Well, one player who won't be getting any action is Justin Thomas, one of the contenders, and he is out of this tournament. So that click one guy off the list of potential winners that you would expect to be in contention come Sunday. Where's a lot of the action showing right now as far as, we know the names, but which ones are drawing the most action outside of Tiger?
It's Brooks Koepka, because right now in ticket count we have Brooks Koepka 1, Tiger 2, Tony Finau 3, and in money wagered it goes Tiger, Koepka, and Ricky Fowler. And our liabilities really rest in Tiger, Koepka, and Fowler mostly, and we're in good shape on a lot of other golfers. So those are the three that are being targeted. So
let's talk about what type of players profile is doing the best on this difficult golf course.
Yeah, it's a long course, and I think the most important aspect is length and accuracy off the tee to get started. And they've had some wet weather, so the course is going to play even longer. But you have to have that advantage, so I would somewhat discount some of the short hitters here. It's a par 70, 7,400 yards, so I would look for the long hitters, and those are the ones that lead the top of the odds board.
Well, now, you kind of, I guess, turn your nose up at this opinion, but I thought at 60-1, and he's as long as it gets, and he's not in bad form right now. I think Bubba Watson is going to end up somewhere on my rundown of players that I take this week. I'm trying to knock it down to 4 players, and I don't know if he's still 60-1. I haven't checked today, but Bubba at least interests me a little bit. How come you don't like him?
Yeah, I mean, the numbers say that he should do well. He's coming off a 12th place at the Masters, and he's got 3 top 20s when they've played, whether it's been the end of the tour, the playoffs, or the U.S. Open here. So he's done well on this course. He's just not a guy that I trust. I mean, the only time I really get involved with Bubba is at the Masters, where he's got 2 wins. And he can play well at the Travelers, too, up in Hartford, Connecticut. That's one of his favorite courses. Other than that, he's just not a guy that I trust week in and week out.
We have 2 guys, 2 great young players who look like they're going to be knocking on the door on a constant basis. Patrick Cantley, Xander Schauffele. How do they look this week?
Yeah, Schauffele's getting a lot of support, and as is Cantley. And Cantley's one of the ones that I've supported. I played him at 50-1 along with John Rahm at 20-1. So those are my 2 premier picks that I've got. Anybody from deep triple figures? Now, I normally stay away from those guys in majors because I just don't think they know how to close. It's tough enough to win a non-major, but with the pressure on a Sunday, the 100-1 guys generally just don't fare that well in the majors. But anybody in those triple digits that appeals a little bit? Yeah, I actually got involved in some because I think this one isn't considered as much of a major as the other 3 are. So I think the longer shots do have a chance in this one. And I played some Jason Kokrick at 250, Matt Wallace at 150, and Julian Surrey at 400-1.
Wow. Jeff, switching to soccer, where are you going to take us this week?
Well, we got a big game in town tonight. We got the Lights are playing in the U.S. Open Cup, and they're playing against Cal FC. And Cal FC is a 5th-tier team. The Lights have actually been playing really well at home, and they're minus 250 on the 3-way, minus a goal and a half on the spread. But they're playing at 7:30 tonight, and you can get in for $10 any seat in the stadium. So a lot of people don't even know that this is taking place, but second-round action of the U.S. Open Cup tonight here in Vegas. Not bad. We've got MLS tomorrow, and we've got that big matchup between Liverpool and Tottenham, which I think is, June 1st, I believe? Yeah, Saturday, June 1st, and it's Liverpool-Tottenham in the UEFA Champions League final, and it's so interesting. You have two English teams in the Champions League final and two English teams with Chelsea and Arsenal in the Europa League final.
How's MLS action so far, and anything that sticks out tomorrow night as everybody plays on Wednesday night?
Yeah, there's 4 games tomorrow night, and it's been not too much to write home about right now, but we've seen on the Thursday night game on ESPN2 where LAFC is hosting FC Dallas, and that one's had a lot of support on LAFC, who right now are the title favorites, and they've been getting supported well on the three-way price. We open -$2, it's up to $3.
Tons of NFL stuff already up at Superbook, and anything that's been drawing over the past week, or is it kind of quiet right now?
No, we've still been getting a lot of action on it, especially the playoff. Yes, no props. We've even got some money against the Chiefs to make the playoffs. The Chiefs under win, so there's a lot of anti-Chiefs money out there, and the money just doesn't stop on the Cleveland Browns. We've adjusted them downward in the division. They're getting supported in their season wins to make the playoffs. Every which way, it's Cleveland Browns this year.
You know, I have a funny feeling that come August, right before the start of the regular season, I think there's going to be some sharp money that shows against Cleveland because they're so public right now, and you know how that runs, Jeff.
Yeah, what a turn of events. The last 3-4 years it's been all sharps on Cleveland, and that's what we're looking for this year is sharps against Cleveland. So a complete 180 is expected this year.
Yeah, and as far as the Chiefs go, I mean, look, it's just a blind trend, but it keeps winning. You bet against the Super Bowl loser, especially early in the season, you're probably going to do pretty well.
Yeah, it's the Rams this year.
Well, the Rams,
yeah.
But but the Chiefs. Well, okay, I think you know where I was heading with that. The Chiefs looked like they were going to be the team heading for the Super Bowl, and of course they lose to the Patriots. I put them in the same category as the Rams from that standpoint. Yeah,
the thing about the Chiefs, though, man, I'm so impressed with Patrick Mahomes, and I think he's just going to be one of the top quarterbacks for a long time. That every time we expect Brady to regress a little bit with his age and everything, they keep trucking along, and I expect Patrick Mahomes is going to have that type of effect on the Chiefs. So I don't think we're going to see too much variability over the years with this team, as long as they can keep some pieces in place.
What about the Rams, though? Are they going to be the typical bet against in terms of where the action is coming off the Super Bowl loss?
So far, they've been bet on, and especially the first week at Carolina. We opened 2.5 at the Panthers. It's up to 3, and the public's still supporting them. And I know they've had some moves, losing some players and getting some other players. So there's been some turnover there. But so far, the public is still supporting the Rams as if it was the middle of last year.
Jeff, has there been any love for the 49ers? Last year at this time, they were the buzz team. Everybody falling in love with them and wanting to jump on the Jimmy Garoppolo bandwagon. How's the action on them?
It's been all positive from the betting public on them, especially with Garoppolo returning, because when he played at the end of the year a couple of years ago, they got a ton of support as they were doing well. Last year when he missed the year, kind of subsided, but we've been seeing all offseason so far nothing but positive support for the 49ers.
If you want to see everything that's available at Superbook, just download the app. You don't even have to have an account set up to view all the available odds, whatever your sport is. And then, by all means, get down to the book, open an account. It only takes a few minutes, and you're ready for action.
Oh, absolutely. That's the way to do it in this day and age. And, we have tons of props on the NBA games. When we get to the Stanley Cup final, we'll have props on that.
Cool.
In progress on these games. And you should see the selection that Randy put up for the Champions League final. We have 5 pages of props for that game, and it's June 1st. So there's just so many things to be involved in the action.
And don't forget to follow Jeff on Twitter at Golf Odds. You regularly update future books and things like that, other good information, and I even think some Game of Thrones comments here and there.
Oh, boy. I leave that for the wife.
Oh, that's
Golf
right,
Odds
yes.
can handle that.
That's right. Mrs. Golf Odds handles that. Have you watched it all?
I've spent some time watching with her a little bit, but I have no idea what's going on because I haven't watched the series like she has. And I just sit in the background and let her enjoy it.
There you go. Yeah, like lots of people, it's fun stuff. All right, Jeff, thanks as always, and good luck this weekend.
All right, thanks, guys.
Again, follow Jeff on Twitter at Golf Odds. When we come back, we'll get you a really weird kind of angle. Ralph comes up with some beauties sometimes, so we'll get that. And we'll also cover some West Coast baseball coming up next.
The Las Vegas Sports Line.
Dave Cokin with John Lyons from Lyons Physical Therapy. So give me a rundown on maybe a typical treatment at LPT.
Sure, Dave. On an initial consult, we'll sit down with the patient for at least 10 or 15 minutes, get a history of their injury,